Welcome to Acuity Acumen, where we illuminate leadership and inspire change. I'm your host, Deanna Armstrong. Today, we kick off a two-part series with Benjamin Magill, Associate Vice Chancellor at Dallas College, and Christopher Edwards, Assistant Director of the Economic Development Administration's BioTech Grant. Ben is the visionary behind the $8.7 million Good Jobs Grant, transforming the biotech workforce in North Texas, while Chris is driving equitable access through strategic partnerships like Panthera BioSolutions and Collin College. In this episode, we explore leadership, upskilling, and the evolving role of community colleges in workforce innovation. Let's get started. Welcome to Acuity Acumen, the podcast where we illuminate leadership and inspire change. I'm Deanna Armstrong, an executive coach working with leaders in the life sciences and biotech industries to help them sharpen their leadership skills and drive real impact. This episode is brought to you by Armstrong Walker Coaching and Consulting, where we empower leaders to reach their full potential. Remember to subscribe on YouTube and follow Acuity Acumen on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So, what does it take to lead in industries as fast-paced as life sciences and biotechnology? Today, we'll explore that and more with two incredible guests who are at the forefront of these dynamic sectors. Welcome, Benjamin Magill, Associate Vice Chancellor of Economic Opportunity, and Chris Edwards, Assistant Director of the EDA Good Jobs Grant. Welcome, guys, to the podcast. So glad to have you. And as you know, we'll have two different parts. One, we'll talk about leadership, and then I definitely want to learn more about the exciting work you all are doing here in Dallas. So Ben, I'll start with you since you're looking at me.
Sure.
So when you think about leadership, especially in your role as in economic development, what does that mean for you, and what skills do you think it takes to be successful in these type of roles?
Gosh, I think I think about economic development as an all hands on deck work. I think it's collaboration. I think is one of the most important skills because I think no one person, no one entity, has everything it's going to take to create economic growth in this vast region. So it's all hands on deck. It's about collaboration. It's about understanding different assets, different strengths and weaknesses that exist in the region, working on those together.
Collaboration. So, like when you said vast regions, so what type of industries are here, and what type of partnerships do you usually seek in your role?
Yeah. So, in North Texas, it's kind of a blessing and a curse. The economy is so diverse. There are so many strong industry sectors, and no one sector takes up all the air in the room. So, in other markets around the country, it might be oil and gas as the dominant, let's say in Houston, for example. So, if the bottom drops out of oil and gas, we have problems, right? Dallas is not that way, but it also makes it difficult to really have a strategic approach to growing any given sector because we're competing across, for time and attention across all these different sectors. And so that's why I say, blessing and a curse.
Interesting. So we'll have to get into that, like how do you prioritize, right?
Yeah.
Because I know there's a big fintech initiative going on right now, and a lot of companies coming into the Metroplex even more. So what a problem to have. What do they say?
Yeah.
First world problems or something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you talk to people in other markets and they're like, I wish we had the economic growth that we're all, experiencing in North Texas. And so, yeah, we're very fortunate to be managing growth versus, the opposite situation.
Absolutely. That's much better.
And so Chris, so when you think about your role in leadership, like what are some of the key qualities? Well, first of all, tell us more about your role, and then what are some of the key qualities you think that make you successful in what you do?
Okay, so I am the assistant director for the EDA Good Jobs Challenge Biotech Grant. Really long name. our job is to build the workforce pipeline for biotech in North Texas. And that job it's challenging, given all of the players that are involved and the diversity of the area. But it is really rewarding. I think the skills that I need in this space is the ability to have conversations, the ability to build partnerships, the ability to engage individuals in various settings, in a part of various initiatives, various goals, and kind of bring us all to one central goal, and even help establish what that central goal is. So it has a lot to do with people. It has a lot to do with engaging people and just being able to create relationship there for a positive outcome that we all can benefit from. It's probably the biggest thing.
And so you're majoring in biotech, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's your focus. You don't have to worry about all the different facets like Ben. So
It's Ben has a lot more on this.
well, well, I was just thinking, like, why biotech?
Well, biotech it's growing at such a rapid pace, and you will find that historically the DFW area has lost out on some of the opportunities because we didn't have certain things in place to foster that. So the research is here, right? We have places like UT Southwestern. There's a lot of research, but research, and you'll hear more about this as you talk to different individuals, especially from BioLab. Shout out to Gabby. As research gets finished, a product comes out of that, and that product is a company. But you need a place to build a company, and a lot of those individuals in the past haven't been able to find that here, so they've moved. So you have millions and billions of dollars in revenue that the area misses out on because we didn't have that infrastructure, and that problem, so to speak, is being solved by biolabs. But also with that, we want other companies to come to this area because biotech is not going away. You're talking about therapeutics. You're talking about various medications. Biotech is kind of a catch-all for a lot of different things that have to do not solely with life sciences, but really problem solving as it relates to using biology. That's the way I'll say it.
Right, because some of our audience members may not be familiar with biotech.
Yeah.
So it's the biology, right? The bio piece, the life sciences piece, combined with technology and innovation and bringing new novel therapies or devices, like you're saying, to help people have better quality of lives. That's kind of
and there's so much diversity there. You got companies bringing back, one company in particular bringing back the woolly mammoth, things like that.
Right.
As well as, which will provide a lot of information for, more research. But then you have things like a medication that is, desperately needed for a group. And so with that growth in the industry, we want more and more of these companies to not only stay here, but come here, because we do have the talent pipeline for it. We have the institutions. We have the R1 institutions. We have the airports that will take you from the East Coast to the West Coast. We have, pretty good tax system here in Texas.
Yes, like no state income tax. Woo-hoo.
Come on, it's a lot of things that encourage, but I will say that the biggest challenge that site selectors have with coming that we see is, well, the talent pipeline, where are they? Which hence our role as a grant is to support the workforce pipeline, building that pipeline and that connectivity across the DFW and just the 16 county region.
So let's take a little deeper dive into this grant. So I think, Benjamin, you had a role in securing that grant. Can you tell us a little more about the process of grant writing, and why did you even want to be a part of this EDA grant?
Well, that's a great question. So as an economic developer, it was kind of an exciting challenge to me to see if we could, win an award from U.S. Economic Development Administration. And it was very timely because the Good Jobs Challenge opportunity was created out of the pandemic and what had happened around the countries of people, particularly in service sector jobs, were just decimated. I mean, stores were closed, restaurants were closed, all these kinds of things. And so the idea was, how do we target those individuals with upskilling, with training, and help them get into a job that is a living wage with some upward mobility, and that's squarely the mission of Dallas College, right? Is to help people change their lives through education, and particularly in this case, it was about helping folks to secure that good job without having to go through 2 years, 4 years, 6 years of education, right? A lot of life can happen along that time span, right?
Yes.
Right. So how do we train people as quickly as possible, and as well as possible, and get them into a good job and build a foundation? That's our mission. Dallas College, that aligned perfectly with this grant opportunity. And it just so happens we have an incredible team of grant writers, grant managers, and we, at Dallas College, have lots of experience writing and managing these grants. And so I leaned heavily on one of our staff members, and we wrote it. And I think the reason we are successful is that we built a really strong coalition. So while Dallas College is the lead entity, we were able to bring on Collin College, Tarrant County College, and University of Texas at Arlington as fellow training institutions, as well as a couple of organizations to help us keep industry at the table and make sure that we understand what industry is looking for in the folks that they want to hire. So we brought on BioNorth Texas and the DFW Hospital Council Foundation. So I think the key to that and the success was that coalition, building that coalition.
Again, back to the collaboration that you were talking about, that's important when you're a leader in this type of role. So that's fantastic. And again, just what is the EDA grant and how much was it, the award, and how long does it last?
Yeah, $8.8 million
Wow.
from the U.S. Economic Development Administration. 3-year grant. The first year was a planning, kind of like figuring out how we're going to do all this, how all these groups are going to work together, what type of training we need to offer, what it looks like, how we're going to get the word out, right? Market the opportunity, both to companies and to students. And we are in the 3rd year of that grant. Yeah.
With a hopeful,
Yeah.
no cost extension for another year.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And so then you're a part of implementing.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. Yes.
So as a person living in Dallas County, Collin County, like over in Arlington, how can I have access to this type of information, to this education that you all are talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we do have a biotech website. Go Biotech is the website. GoBiotech.com.
Okay.
GoBiotech.com. And it gives you some of the roles in biotech, but then also shows you where you can get training from across the consortium. So Collin, Tarrant, UTA. That is how you can get connected. That's our major form for those who are not already somehow involved, and I'll explain what I mean by that. But also we have an ad that we just launched that we'll see, and that was a collaborative feat also, because a lot of it was actually shot at Panthera BioSolutions in Fort Worth, and that is a company that, not only are they skilled at what they do, but they actually care about the community. We actually have a partnership with them to provide a course for students who know nothing about the GMP pharmaceutical space. So GMP is good manufacturing practices. If you see CGMP, that's current good manufacturing practices. In other words, any of the medicines or any product that a pharmaceutical company is putting out, it has to be packaged well. It has to be assured for quality, if that's the way to say that. It has to be handled in a certain way. The temperature, the packaging, the documentation, there's certain requirements federally and just from a good manufacturing practices perspective. And so a lot of folks think getting into the pharmaceutical space, there is this big barrier, right? You hear big pharma and you think, well, I'm small, so I can't get in there. But they have been adamant. This is Jason and Arctic over at Panthera. They've been adamant about breaking down that barrier because it's actually not as hard as it seems to get in. This course, which is a 32 contact hour course, 4 weeks, is the exact type of program that Ben was mentioning earlier that can take someone from having zero experience in this space to having enough experience to actually secure a role in the GMP space. And yeah, that is a big part of the work, but also on the hospital side of this. So this grant not only touches the biotech by definition side, but also the healthcare space as well, a lot of the lab roles there. And so we are working with 8 of the hospital systems in the area to provide upskilling opportunities for their people, to CT, all of those different spaces.
PCT.
Patient care technician. And so these are the people who, depending on where, they might even do some phlebotomy. So they might be the ones who take your blood. They might be the ones that you see out front. It all depends. And so yeah, we're being a great resource as a grant to the hospital system to upskill their people and give them that upward mobility also. So it kind of spreads around.
Yeah, and I think it's very important, right? We're in the age of machine learning with artificial intelligence and generative AI in particular, that can do a lot of work that folks were doing in the past. So when you think about some of the statistics out there say that by the year 2030, right, 2030, generative AI will probably eliminate like half of the low-skilled worker jobs that we have out there. So I think that's why it's very important for people, especially in North Texas, to think about how can I upskill, as you've mentioned a lot, or reskill so that I can remain competitive in the future.
Absolutely.
Right? And by 2030, that's not a long time away, right? I think about that. My little boy graduates in 2031, and he's in the 6th grade. So that's, how time flies. I feel like he just started kindergarten, but in another, few years, he'll be out of school and we'll be at that point in 2030. So I think that's even more of a reason why it's great that we have this here right in North Texas. So how can I, how much does the program cost? And how can I enroll?
Program is free.
It's free.
So the grant is actually covering the cost of the tuition for these programs, which is that is how we support in an even greater way. Because, as Ben mentioned, we want to engage with individuals who might not have ever touched these spaces, but also are in underserved zip codes. And with that being the case, we want to, as a grant, support them on the financial side of that too. And if I can, I want to say something about what you just mentioned about AI. I think the key here is the transferable skills, because what we find out is that some roles might go away. That doesn't mean the skill set is no longer necessary. And we have found a important spot in transferable skills, even as it relates to doing the hospital upskilling. When it comes to those site selectors who want to come here, when they're looking for their talent pipeline, this is not Boston. So you don't see a ton of folks coming out with a biotech degree here, but there are transferable
Yes, right,
yes.
right. Yes.
Keyword.
Yes. Yes.
And they have this whole infrastructure built up there because they've had years and decades of doing this type of work. We are building a thing at a really quick pace, I must say. And one of the things you'll find is that there's a lot of transferable skills from healthcare to biotech, from warehousing to biotech. There's these spaces, even GMP, right? You're working in a pharmaceutical setting, but when you look at the labor market intelligence data, what you'll find out is that the GMP space spans across industries. So you have pharma, but you also have food processing or medical devices. Each of these spaces might need someone with that good manufacturing practices background, and that is where we, as a grant, our top KPI is jobs. So what we want to see is that people get jobs. Well, let's say you are in waiting for that great biotech job. That company is 6 months away from, setting up their headquarters here. They're a year away. Well, you got to work now. You got to eat now. You mentioned your son. I got a bunch of them. Ben has children also. They all have to eat. So this person has to work now. Well, when we train in spaces that have a lot of transferable skills, it allows for them to be able to work now. And then when that big company comes and starts hiring at large, they'll still have those transferable skills to move over there and work throughout.
So speaking of that, so do you have like an alumni program? Are you keeping in touch with these folks that matriculate into your program? Okay.
Yes. So we track them for 6 months, and our goal is to make sure they get into a job. So when they complete the program, we have a senior success coach on the grant who is helping prepare them alongside actually with those. So Jason and Hardik, who lead Panthera BioSolutions, they do the first part of that post-course assessment and support. They sit down with the students. Now, these guys own the company, by the way. So it's pretty cool for them to sit down with the students. And say, okay, based on how well you did in class, based on what you want to do, I think these roles would be good. What do you think about that? Which roles stood out? Because this is a hands-on training. They're actually in the facility. It's not at a Dallas College location. It's in Fort Worth at the facility. So, hey, what did you like? Oh, I liked what this person did. I liked doing this validation. Or I'm a big fan of looking for particulates in this bio, Okay, I think these roles will be good. Then they transition on to our senior success coach, who then helps them with the whole resume building piece, as well as the interviewing piece. She connects them with our career services. Dallas College has a ton of services, so she gets them connected there to support them moving into those roles. And the first cohort actually just graduated about a month ago. And so,
Awesome. And so if you haven't heard of Panthera BioSolutions, they were actually a guest on this podcast a few weeks ago. So you're welcome to go back and subscribe to our YouTube channel to listen to the conversation I had with Hardik and with Jason. But I think that's very important is that I'm making this transition. I might be a little afraid, but I have a success coach along on this journey with me, but also key players in this industry to help me along the way. So it's not like I'm just going and out there and flailing, but I have support, and I think that's huge. That really is huge.
Oh, the joys of long hours and low pay. Something different is just around the corner. Dump the daily grind and trade in that boring name tag for a cool lab coat. You can fast-track your future in as little as 2 months with free hands-on entry-level biotech classes in pharma manufacturing, bioinformatics, quality assurance, or lab technology, powered by a college near you. Try on an in-demand, well-paid biotech career path today. Get started in an exciting new career that works for you. You're gonna love the fit.
Thank you for tuning in to Acuity Acumen. Today's conversation with Ben and Chris highlighted the transformative impact of the Good Jobs Grant and their leadership at Dallas College. Don't miss part 2, airing on December 11th, where we'll explore how they're shaping North Texas's biotech ecosystem. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube to stay connected. Until next time, let's keep illuminating leadership and inspiring change.